Technology Symposium 2021. Staying Connected. Montage clips from Technology Symposium. Technology Symposium 2021. Staying Connected. Hi, I'm Jason Martin, the Assistive Technology Specialist for the Blind here at the Alabama Department of Rehabilitation Services. And I'm so happy to welcome you to the second day of our first virtual Technology Symposium for the blind and visually impaired. This is my 10th year working for this Technology Symposium, but it's absolutely the first year we've ever gotten big names like Google that you saw yesterday and Microsoft today. So I'm very proud of these things, and I hope you've enjoyed a lot of these presentations. You might have even considered some of them to be quite fabulous. I'd like to start off thanking a few people who've helped and have been very instrumental putting this conference together. I've served as the digital content creator here during this symposium, putting in narration, putting in editing, and kind of getting everything all together. I hope you've enjoyed our nice tunes and the audio description that we've provided. I would particularly like to thank Bill Adams for being our webmaster and helping work kind of on the back end of a lot of things that you've seen on our website. Savannah Wilson has been absolutely pivotal in helping registration and with various other organizational aspects of the conference. Jill West designed our really cool logo that is, we like to call that the technology eye. It kind of resembles an eye for those of you who haven't been able to physically view it. We've 3D printed models for when we're doing this live, so you can touch it and feel our awesome new logo. I'd like to also thank Courtney Dotson for helping with CEUs, and for those of you who are out there that need credit for this conference, she's been very instrumental. Marge Lebrick as well has been working very diligently to get ACVREP credits for everyone. And of course, I have to thank our coordinator of blind services that you've already met in this conference, Dana Barber. And for anyone that I've left out, of course, the Alabama School for the Blind Alumni Association, but anyone that I've left out, because I'm sure with all the people that have been involved in this conference, there's somebody that I have not mentioned. Please go check out the members of our team and committee that put this all together. You can get there by going to www.altechsymposium.net/team. So I hope you really enjoyed the day. I hope you find something that can be of use to you in your life or in your professional career. And let's see you at the end of it. Technology Symposium 2021. Sponsored by the Alabama Department of Rehabilitation Services, the Alabama School for the Blind Alumni and Workers Association, and the Alabama Institute for Deaf and Blind. CEU Open Code 12621. Our presentation will begin shortly. CEU Open Code 12621. Our presentation will begin shortly. CEU Open Code 12621.
Hello everybody, my name is Bill Adams. I'm an Orientation Mobility Specialist with the Alabama Department of Rehab Services in the Montgomery office, and I just wanted to introduce our awesome speakers today from Microsoft for the overview of Microsoft accessibility for those who are blind or who have low vision. We have two speakers today. We have Sean Merrihew, who has been with Microsoft for more than 5 years, working as an expletive engineer in Microsoft's Consumer and Enterprise Disability Answer Desk. Sean has also been a driving force behind Microsoft's accessibility webinars. He's also worked across multiple engineering teams to improve accessibility and is a part of the team behind Microsoft MSFT enabled Twitter feed. We also have Kelly Ford. Kelly Ford has been with Microsoft for roughly 20 years. He has worked on web browsing technology, multiple cross-company accessibility initiatives, as well as the narrator screen reader, and also worked on several other accessibility projects. We hope you enjoy this next presentation.
Overview of Microsoft accessibility for people who are blind or low vision.
Hello everyone, I'm Kelly Ford, and with me today is Sean Merrihew. We're both from Microsoft's Enterprise Disability Answer Desk, where we assist customers who have questions about accessibility or want to know how report bugs to Microsoft with our products. Today we're going to give you a little bit of an overview about some of our technology that we have for people who are blind or have low vision. And I'll hand it over to my great colleague Sean to talk a little bit more about what we're going to demonstrate.
Cool, thanks Kelly. Hey everyone, I hope everyone is having a great day so far. I'll just do a quick overview of some of the topics that we're going to cover, and then I'll hand it back to Kelly to get us started. So first, Kelly's going to talk a little bit about Microsoft Teams and some of our screen reading scenarios, some things in Office like search, and he's going to do a little bit of an overview around navigating within the Microsoft Edge web browser. And then I'm going to show some of our low vision features like Immersive Reader, Magnifier, and some of its features, some of the new options around text size and mouse pointer size, and then some of the other mouse and color options in Windows, like color filters, dark theme, and high contrast modes. With that, I'll toss it over to Kelly to get us going.
Thanks, Sean. And as we mentioned, this is Kelly.
Sean Merrihew, Zilla Microsoft Team.
And obviously you can hear I'm using a screen reader, JAWS in this case. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about one of the programs we mentioned, Microsoft Teams. So some of you may have used Teams already, maybe not. It's kind of a replacement of Skype for Business, along with some new functionality for having chats, messages, calendars, and then sharing information. Teams has a few different areas that let you do those things. We're starting out in a chat. So I am in a chat with my colleague Sean, and I've moved focus to the chat edit box. If you're using JAWS, it turns off the virtual PC cursor by default when you load Teams. Talk briefly about whether you want that off or on. NVDA does a good job at toggling their focus and browse modes. With Narrator, you probably want to toggle off scan mode when you're working in Teams. So I'm going to start, and if I just wanted to send a message, so I've written.
Hey, we have started recording.
It's typical standard editor.
Recording period. Recording started. And we.
And when I want to send that message.
Blank. Sending ... Message sent.
So you can hear that it was sent. If I want to read chat messages, I can press Shift Tab once.
Message list. Message from Kelly Ford Sella. Hey, we have started recording. Sent today at 1:48 p.m. Press enter to explore message content. Then use escape to shift focus back to the message.
And that puts me on the last chat message that was in this conversation. If I hit up arrow.
Message from Kelly Ford Sella. We will be ready to record soon. Sent today at 1:30.
We hear the previous message.
Message from.
If I go back to the chat edit box.
Type a new message. Edit.
And my colleague Sean sends me a message, which hopefully he will do.
Message from Sean Merritt Usella. Hi Kelly, Microsoft Teams call in progress record Alabama session. Sean Merritt.
So we heard Sean's message read automatically. If I didn't, or I wanted to reread it.
Message list. Message from Sean Merritt Usella. Hi Kelly, sent today.
Again, that shift tab. So while I'm in the chat area,
type a new message.
If I keep tabbing.
Microsoft Teams call in progress. Menu, actions menu, format, press enter to expand compose.
So here we heard something that said menu, and I pressed control key, probably my favorite screen reader key. As everyone knows, that's silent speech, but I can use left and right arrow.
Set delivery options, press enter key.
To get to other choices for what to do.
Attach, use left and right arrow keys to choose an emoji, press enter.
I can add files.
Leaving menus. Menu, actions menu, choose a Giphy, choose, attach, use left, set delivery, format, press enter to expand compose box and format your message.
This item that says format is interesting because this actually brings up a full formatting toolbar and things like that. If I hit tab again.
Send button.
There's that same send button.
Leaving menus, Sean Merritt Usella Microsoft Teams, back press control plus alt plus H.
There's a back button.
Search and new chat, combo box, look for messages, files, and more.
So
Microsoft Teams call in progress record Alabama.
If we were to start Teams, what we just heard here, the search for messages, that's what I like to call my home base. And you can get to that at any time with Control E. And a couple things you can do there. You can either type a command with a /.
Sean Merritt Usella Microsoft Teams /activities /away set your status to away suggestions updated.
So I typed away or the first two letters of it. If I were to hit enter.
/away executed your status is being set to away.
I can also then hit tab.
Back press control plus alt plus search and new chat combo settings and more button menu.
And get to areas. Now some of you that have been using Teams, you may notice something different recently. Where there's now a separate tab stop at settings. When I used to talk about Teams, I'd say, hey, you go to the profile and that's one tab stop after the search edit box. Teams now has put things into two different menus.
Menu settings 1 of 8.
In settings,
zoom out button, zoom in button.
Can adjust zoom levels.
Zoom reset, DevTools submenu, service, version, Microsoft Outer in R3.
A couple things that we have internally at Microsoft that let us pick which version of Teams we want to use.
Keyboard shortcuts. About the application submenu. Check for application up. Download the mobile Microsoft Teams. Settings 1 of 8. Leaving menus. Settings. And
I can hit tab again.
Profile button menu. Menu set status message.
Now, if you might have heard me hit the enter key a couple times. Well, every once in a while there's a bug in Teams where, and it happened to me, I hit enter on the profile button and it didn't come up right away. We do work with the Teams engineering team on these types of issues, and we'll talk more about the Enterprise Disability Answer Desk later in the presentation, but you can also, when things don't work, let us know, and we'll get those issues over to the right engineering team.
Microsoft selected. Microsoft commute. Nuance does not save. Manage account 2 of 3.
So just another menu of choices.
Leaving menus. Profile button. List with 8 items. 4 new active.
And then really this is kind of the heart of Teams where you can see everything you can do. So here's a toolbar.
11 chats with new messages. More options.
So I'm arrowing up and down.
4 teams with new messages. Toggle button.
And this tells me all about the different things I have going on.
Calendar toolbar toggle.
And that I can go to. Calendar, chats, Teams, and more. That's kind of slow, but if you don't know what's available, you can tab and arrow, as I said. But the other thing you can do is you can use hotkeys. So for example, Control 2
chat list preview, recent chats closed.
Goes to my list of chats. Now you heard it say recent chats closed. If I hit right arrow, this is a tree.
Recent chats open.
and I've now opened up my recent chats.
Chat. Sean Merritt Usella. Do not disturb. Last message from Sean.
So I heard what you hear for each chat is who you're chatting with, could be one person or many. You hear the status of the person, and then the last message that was sent in the chat. The other thing you can do is press space.
List with 7 items. Pop out chat. 1 of 7.
I could bring this chat into its own window.
Mark as unread. 2 of
I
7.
can say, hey, this chat, I haven't read it.
Pin. 3 of 7.
The one I want to mention is Pin. So Sean is someone I would chat with fairly often, so I can pin his chat.
Chat list preview. Chat. Sean Merritt Usella. Pin chats under recent tab open.
Now you'll notice there's something new. Pin chats is first,
Chat. Sean Merritt Usella. Pin chats under recent tab closed.
and I can open or close that. Open or close that.
Chat. Sean Merritt Usella. Do not disturb. Last message from Sean.
Fairly straightforward once you get used to it, but I recognize if you haven't, there's a lot going on, and we will include a link to all the keyboard shortcuts. I do want to mention one other thing. So I picked this chat
Type a new message. Edit.
by pressing enter, and I'm back in the chat edit box, and I'm just going to type one more message to Sean.
E-W space E-R-A. Sending ...
Now, sometimes the chat
Message sent.
text can be quite long, and with every screen reader, again, you can go back and treat this like a web page. And so I can do an insert Z for the virtual cursor.
On. Virtual
JAWS
PC.
says virtual cursor on,
Hey, how are we doing? By Kelly Forcella. Heading level 4.
and I'm hitting Shift H,
Hey, we have started recording. By Kelly Forcella. Heading level 4. 1:48 p.m.
and now I'm hitting down arrow.
Toolbar with 2 buttons. Press enter to enter tool. Hey, we have started recording. Opens profile card.
So you can read the chats like a web page.
Off. PC.
You can also now go to another area like Teams with Control 3.
Teams and channels list preview. Pinned open. 1 of 3. New Teams and channels list preview. Pinned open. 1 of 3. Feedback and support channel in Windows Virtual Desktop active self-hosters team. Pinned. New messages. Favorited. Hit space for more options. 1 of 3.
So a lot of things we're hearing.
Pinned. Open. Pinned. Closed. 1 of 3.
Again, Teams are really like group conversations. The difference being you join a team and then you can see everything that was sent there. But again, it's another tree.
Pinned. Open.
So I hit right arrow to expand.
Feedback and support channel in Windows Virtual Desktop. 1. General channel in EDAD chat team. Pinned. Favorited. Hit. Experimental channel in EDAD chat team. Pinned. New messages. Favorited. Hit space for more.
So we have an experimental channel in our EDAD group. I'm going to hit enter on that.
EDAD chat team. Experimental channel. New conversation button. Loading more messages. Loading. Start a new conversation. Type at to mention someone. Edit.
Now, unlike a chat, you're not placed in an edit box by default. You're placed on a new conversation button. So I'm going to type something.
Edit. Sending ... Message list. Away Kelly Forcella. 1:56 p.m. Toolbar with 2 buttons. Press enter to enter.
Now, after I send that, I'm put in the list of messages.
Edit in your last reply. This is a new message from. Reply button. Message from Kelly Forcella. This is a new message. Sent today at 1:56 p.m. Press enter to explore message content menu.
If I hit down arrow,
Reply button.
I get to a reply button.
Reply. Editing. Edit.
I hit enter, and now I can type.
Sending ... Reply button. Reply from Kelly Force. Message from Kelly Forcella. This is a new menu. Light 1 of 6. Leaving. Reply from message from Kelly Forcella. This is a new message. Sent today at 1:56 p.m. Press enter to explore message content. Then use escape to ship. Reply from Kelly Forcella. This is my reply.
So now there's a reply, and I can press enter. I could do this in chats as well,
Menu. Light 1 of 6.
and I can set what I like to call emotional reactions on things like
Heart 2 of 6. Laugh 3 of 6. Surprise 4 of 6. Sad 5 of 6.
I apologize for the background noise, giving you the real presentation world.
Leaving menus. Message list. Reply from Kelly Force.
The biggest difference between a team and a chat as far as how you interact is
Reply button.
you can reply to specific messages, and to do so you need to find that conversation and expand it with enter arrow through the existing messages, and the best thing to do is to hit a reply button.
Threaded con.
There are other things in Teams. For example, I can hit Control 4 and go to my calendar.
Calendar grid 2. Wednesday, April 21st, 1:30 p.m. Wednesday, April 21st, 2 p.m. to Wednesday.
By default, the calendar is like a grid, so I can arrow up and down and move to each period of the day. And then when I hear I have an appointment,
Tuesday, April 20th, 1:30 p.m. to Tuesday, April 20th, 2 p.m. One events. Press tab to navigate to the event.
I hit tab.
Record Alabama session. Tuesday, April 20th.
And now this is when we're recording this session. And I like to use Shift F10 at this point to get options related to that appointment.
Menu view 1 of 8. Decline 8 of 8.
Now I can do things like decline the appointment,
Tentative accept. Copy link 5. Join online 4 of 8.
join online.
Leaving menu.
So a little bit about Teams. Again, Control E gets me back to my home base.
Search and new chat combo box. Look for messages.
Control 1 through 5 get me to different things like Teams and call or calendar. And there's one other thing that a lot of people have started to do with Teams, and that is files.
Look for messages, files, and more, or type / for a list of commands. Edit files list grid. Excel edit annual.xls.
And the virtual PC cursor with JAWS is off. And I hit Control 6 in this case to go to my files. With the virtual PC cursor off, if you've ever used the Windows File Explorer details view, the Teams file grid behaves a lot like that experience.
Excel EDAD monthly track and copy.xls. Excel edit annual.xlsx.
I'm hitting up and down now.
Excel EDAD monthly track and copy.xlsx. Modify 3 H ago keywords 1 drive row 2 out of 44. Press right or left arrow keys or press shift plus.
And now I can hit right arrow to step through the details for this file.
Type column header sortable. Excel column header type selected. Column 0. Name column header sortable. EDAD monthly track and copy.xlsx. Modify column header sorted
I'm
descending.
just hitting right arrow.
Location column header sortable. Keywords 1 drive column head. File options menu button selected as pop-up. Column 4 row 2.
And here's the last column, but you heard it say file options. I can hit enter.
Selected. Menu open the desktop app 2 of 5.
And now we have different options. A lot of times you'll hear that you can open a file.
Open the browser 3 of 5. Download 4 of 5. Copy link 5 of download. Open the browser. Open the desktop. Edit in Teams 1 of 5.
And there's at least 3 ways to deal with this file. Edit in Teams would allow me to edit it right here in Teams.
Open the desktop app 2 of 5.
Open in desktop app, as you can imagine, would open in this case Excel,
Open the browser 3 of.
or open in browser would go to the online version of the file. In this case,
Open the desktop app 2 of 5.
we would open the file in the desktop app. That is going to give you the best experience with a screen reader or a screen magnifier.
Leaving menus files.
That's a little bit about Teams. We'll include a link to a webinar that has much more. I want to switch now to Word and just talk a little bit about a couple things in Word.
Record Alabama set document 1 word. Document 1 word edit. Slower.
So everyone's used Word a lot, I'm sure, and you know all about the ribbon and all of those sorts of things. In the interest of time in our session today, I just want to remind folks, I don't know about you, but sometimes I find the number of commands on the ribbon and where everything is, can get overwhelming. I'm a big fan of Microsoft Search. It used to be known as Tell Me. I can hit Alt-Q.
Ribbon, type the search and use the up and down arrows key.
And type in, what do I want to do? In this case, let's just say it's something simple like bold.
Blank menu, bold control plus B, make your text bold.
So there, I hit Alt-Q, type bold, and I get that answer of, Control B. And if I were to hit enter,
Leaving menus, document 1, edit.
bold would get turned on. It can be more complicated things like
Ribbon, type the search and use the up and. Blank menu, table of contents submenu, provide an overview of your document.
So I typed insert table,
Insert table of figures, add a list of caption, add table submenu. A table is a great way to organize information within your
and
document.
now we're getting different choices. And add table submenu.
Leaving menus, add table, 1x1 table, but 1x, 1x, 2x, 4x, 4 table button.
So here's a 4x4 table.
Document 1 word, ribbon, type the search and use blank. Document pane, blank, row 2 of 4.
And I can also go as far as hit Alt-Q again.
Ribbon, type the search and use the up and down.
I hit Alt Q and then I typed delete rows.
Blank menu. Delete rows. Delete rows.
And if I hit enter on this,
Hold on. Looks like something went wrong. We're trying to get you back into the meeting. Best action. Document 1. Table 1. Uniform table. Blank.
Sean,
I'm still here. I think you're still there too.
did you hear that thing about hold on?
I didn't get it, but I heard Jaws read it.
Okay, well, we're making a recording, but you know,
Blank
it's a
row.
live presentation, if you will. So I deleted my table rows. So that's why I like to use Tell Me or Office Search a lot. How do I know about how all this works? Well, I like to use the browser as well.
Files Microsoft Record Alabama session about blank personal Microsoft Edge.
In this case,
PC.
we are
Slower,
switching
slower,
to
slower, slower, slower,
Microsoft
slower,
Edge.
slower.
And the nice thing about Edge, well, there's a lot of nice things, but
PC.
Microsoft and Google contribute shared code. So, you know, when your screen reader is reading in Chrome or Edge, a lot of the underlying technology is the same. So a lot of your web experiences will be the same. The parts that might be different, although even there's a lot of similarities, are how you get around the browser. You can use Alt and F
Menu. Settings and more menu.
to get to a lot of the controls
New window. 2 of
in
21.
Edge. I hit Alt F and I'm arrowing through things.
New and private window. Zoom out control. Zoom. Enter full screen F. Favorites. 7 of 21. History. 8 favorites.
Now I will say the favorites experience has changed in Edge.
Leaving menus. Dialogue. Favorites. 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 One buildings. Favorites. Favorites toolbar. Favorites. Accurate tab. Favorites button. Favorites preview. Favorites button. Favorites toolbar. Favorites. Accurate tab. Favorites button. Favorites blank. Blank. Favorite added. Favorites blank. Favorite added. Preview about blank. 54. 54. Add folder button. Accurate tab. Toolbar. 5 buttons. Virtual PC. Off.
Now I turned off the JAWS virtual PC cursor in this case because I have my JAWS settings so that Forms mode doesn't toggle.
Favorites. Favorites preview. Blank. Blank. 54. 54. Channel icon 06 HTTPS // the computer's approval menu assistant command. Slower. Slower.
So
Slower.
these are
Slower.
just some of
Slower.
my favorites.
FEC item. Home.community portal. About blank Microsoft Edge.
Hit escape and that goes away.
New tab button.
I can hit tab and arrow around.
App bar toolbar. Refresh button. View site information. Leaving table. Address and search bar. Edit. Edit favorite for this page. Extensions. Accessibility insights for.
So here I've installed some extensions.
Editor button menu. Accessibility wants Microsoft Power Automate wants access to this site button menu. Accessibility insights for web wants access to this site button menu.
And I can go to the address bar with Control L.
Address and search bar. Edit about blank. Edit favorite for this page. Control. Extensions. Accessibility insights. PC.
So Edge itself is fairly straightforward to get around in. Really, it's Control L for the address bar,
Address and search bar. Edit.
Alt F
Menu. Settings and
for a lot of the controls.
new window. 2 of 20. New tab. New and private. Zoom out. Zoom and enter full favorites. History. 8 of downloads. App sub menu. Extensions. 11 of 21. Collections. 12. Leaving menus. About blank
And
Microsoft
then
Edge personal. App bar
F6.
toolbar. Address and search. Document read only.
We'll jump around. If we were on a web page, that would be the document contents. If there was a downloads bar, that would be there as well. We have other training materials on Edge, but just wanted to give you a brief overview. And now I'll hand it off to my colleague Sean to talk about some of the other technologies we wanted to bring to you.
Cool. Thanks, Kelly.
Document
Let me
1 Word.
just
Files
go
Microsoft
ahead
Word.
and
Alabama session Microsoft Teams.
Sorry.
share my screen here.
While Sean's sharing, do want to mention, most people probably know this already, but in case you're brand new, the hotkey in Teams, which I'm going to do right now for muting your microphone, is Control-Shift-M. And again, we'll share how you get the list of all the hotkeys for Teams. If I was tired of this and didn't want to stay with my colleague Sean, which I don't want to do, I could leave a Teams meeting with Control-Shift-B. If I had a question, I could raise my hand or say, hey, I want to talk with Control-Shift-K. And then Sean's screen should be shared by now, so take it away, Sean.
Thanks, Kelly. I'm just trying to get my audio to come across as well, just so there's a couple features that I want to include that do have audio, so bear with me here. There we go. Thanks for your patience. I'm always switching between a few different audio devices, it seems like. Great. Well, thanks, Kelly, for the overview of some of the screen reading features in Teams and Word, and the overview of Edge as well. I'm going to actually continue talking about Edge for a bit and talk about some of the other cool features that if you use magnification, or you use some other speech-to-text tools, but maybe not a screen reader, some of these features that I'll discuss I think might be pretty cool to demo. So I'm first going to talk about the immersive reader in Edge. So the immersive reader is a view in Edge that streamlines some of the content and makes it easier to focus on exactly what you want to get out of a page. As an example, I have an article up here on the immersive reader feature, but like a lot of articles on the web, there's a lot of content on the page. So there's ads, there's images, there's some navigation toolbars. And so if you really just want to focus on the content of your article that you're reading, immersive reader is a cool way to do that. So there's a few ways to get to it. One way, Kelly mentioned the address bar to get to it with Control L. If you press Control L and then Tab, you would land on a control for Enter Immersive Reader. Alternatively, you can just go ahead and hit the key F9. So I'm going to hit F9 here. So this is the same article that I had just had on the screen, but with Immersive Reader, it strips out a lot of the background colors. So now I have kind of this off-white background. I have the title of the article. I have an image with a caption below it. I have the text. And it really just kind of cleans up the page and takes out some of the other background information that may not be as relevant to me as I'm trying to navigate through this article. So that's one of the main benefits of Immersive Reader, but it also has a lot of other cool features. I'll demo a couple of those.
How to use Immersive Reader.
Got ahead of myself there. So in the navigation bar in Read Aloud, in Immersive Reader, sorry, there is a button for Read Aloud, and this will start reading the page kind of from the beginning, and it does give me some control over where and how I'm reading. When I open that, I'll also show some of the controls for customizing how it's reading.
How to use Immersive Reader on the new Microsoft Edge browser. Source, Windows Central.
So I can go ahead and pause anytime. When I have Read Aloud running, I do have some more voice options for Read Aloud. So I can choose some different voices, and I can choose different speeds for them. So let's say that I maybe use this feature quite a bit, and I can listen to voices that are pretty loud. I have quite a few voices installed here, so let's go ahead and switch to a different voice, and I turn the speed up slightly.
Central. On Microsoft Edge Chromium, Immersive Reader is a feature that provides a clutter-free experience to read content on.
So there's quite a few voices on here. So there's some familiar ones that if you use Narrator or another text-to-speech tool in Windows, some of those voices might sound familiar. And then there's a few like the two that I just demoed. One was called Microsoft Guy Online and Microsoft Aria Online. They're, I think, pretty natural sounding voices. And so if you use this feature a lot, those voices might be kind of beneficial for making it easy and pleasant to listen to a lot of content. Immersive Reader also has several other features. So there's this option for text preferences that lets me change the size of text. So I can increase text quite a bit. I can adjust text spacing. So this is a cool one. So if I'll go ahead and turn that on and I'll kind of describe what it's doing. So this does some more on spacing out words a little bit. So if I often find that words kind of crowd together, text spacing is a great feature to turn on here. I can also change the page theme. So right now I have black text with kind of an off-white background. I could do black text with a gray background, white text on a black background. And there's quite a few other options. So there's a lot of pastel kind of colors. And I know for a lot of folks, like I'll switch to this pink pastel. Pastel colors often make it really easy to consume content. So with this pink color scheme, I have, again, black text on a pink background. So I can go ahead and turn that off real quick. There's also grammar tools, so I can split words into syllables. This is great if I'm learning a new language even, and I can highlight different parts of speech like nouns and verbs, and I can change kind of what the color of each of those is for how they're represented. And then I also have a few other reading options. One of them is called line focus, and this really just gives me a couple lines to focus on at a time. And I can choose either one line, and I can kind of navigate line by line through the page, and it keeps everything in clear focus for me. I can change to 3 lines at a time, 5 lines at a time. There's also some translation features and a picture dictionary. So if there's a word you come across that you're not familiar with, you can have it bring up a picture definition of it. So when I click on the word content here, it brings up a little icon of some documents and like a speech bubble, for example. So that's kind of a quick overview of the Immersive Reader in Edge. And so the Immersive Reader is a tool that's starting to become available in a lot of different Microsoft products. So far, it does. There's an Immersive Reader in Teams. So like Kelly was saying, sometimes you might come across a really long conversation, and the Immersive Reader can be a good way to help you consume that and customize how it kind of looks and feels. Microsoft Word has the Immersive Reader, as well as OneNote, and a lot of the Office Online applications do as well. So Immersive Reader is starting to become available in quite a few products, and some features may not be available in each of those, but I think Edge is a good representation of some of the key features that I think might be beneficial to folks. So with that, I'll switch over, and I want to cover some of the features built right into Windows 10 that might help make things easier to use as well. So I have the Windows 10 Settings app open. In the Ease of Access section, there's a lot of options that I can access. I can either select that with a mouse or keyboard, or I can use the keyboard shortcut Windows U, and that'll open up the Ease of Access options directly. And the first tab in there is Display. So there's a couple settings in here I want to cover. One of them is called Make Text Bigger. And right now there's just a slider, and mine is set to 100%, but I can either click and drag, or I can tab to this using the keyboard and use the arrow keys. And let's say I want to bump all of my text in Windows up to 150%, so a little bit bigger. When I hit apply, it'll take a second to apply, and then you can see a lot of the text on the screen is all quite a bit bigger. This can be turned up to 225%. And so again, it makes a lot of the text itself and some of the components a little bit bigger. Let me switch back to 100%. One of the other features that's really helpful is the ability to make everything bigger. So the one that I showed a minute ago was only for text, but I can also do make everything bigger. So that would include icons and controls and buttons and everything else, as well as text. So right now my display is at 150. Let's jump up to 250%. So that makes both the text and a lot of the icons bigger. And so I think for a lot of users, they might find a combination of both of those settings, where they make everything slightly bigger as well as text bigger. So those are really some of the ways that you can customize the size of things in Windows. Fairly recently, there were also some new options added for mouse pointers. Traditionally in Windows 10, there's been a few options of either a white mouse pointer, a black mouse pointer, or one that inverts based on whatever it's over. There's 2 new things I want to call out here. One of them is change the pointer size. So I have a slider here where I can drag and make the pointer quite a bit bigger. So this is all the way up. It's at ranges from 1 to 15. So this is 15, the largest. I can kind of pick anywhere in the middle where it stays pretty large. In addition to just making being able to choose the color, I can also bring up a color wheel and choose a very particular color. So let's say that there's a color that works really well for me across all content to be able to quickly identify where the mouse pointer is. I can use this color picker. Let's say I like a kind of light blue color. So I can change a lot of parameters about that to come up with the perfect color for my mouse pointer. And then it kind of remains visible for me here. So yeah, I think some of the cool things about this are the size and the custom colors that you can make. So I'll go ahead and bring that back down slightly. One other feature is the text cursor. So you may notice that if you're typing in a Word document or on the web, your kind of blinking text cursor can get a little lost if there's a lot of text in your document. There is a new feature called the text cursor indicator, and when I turn that on, anywhere that I can type, like let's say I jump to the settings search bar here, I now have that blinking cursor with purple indicators above and below it. Similar to the mouse pointers, I can change the size of those pretty drastically. I can also change and choose specific colors, and again, pick those really custom colors. So it's another cool feature that makes it a little easier to identify where the text cursor is if I'm editing or navigating through a document. So now let's jump in and talk a little bit about magnifier. So I'll go ahead and turn magnifier on in Windows here. I have mine set to 200% zoom, and I'm in the full screen view. For folks that have used magnifier before, there's a few different views: lens, full screen, and docked. I quite like using full screen for me. And so let me just step through some of the settings in magnifier. One of them that is on by default, which is pretty cool, is the ability to smooth edges of images and text. So historically, if you've blown your text up very, very large, and if let's say I turn that feature off, some of the text gets a little blurry. And so with this smooth edges of images and text, when I turn that on, things can get a little smoother, and so they kind of retain some of their crispness at high zoom. So I'm at 1200% right now. So let me jump back down. I'm just stepping down back to 200% here. So again, I can change the magnifier view. I'm on full screen right now. One feature that I know a lot of users had asked for is being able to keep the mouse pointer centered on the screen. So right now in my magnified view, I can move it by moving the mouse pointer towards the edge of that view. But for some folks, it's difficult to keep following the mouse pointer the whole time. And so with this new option of keep the mouse pointer centered on the screen, no matter where I move my mouse pointer, the pointer is always dead center in the screen, which makes it a little easier for some folks to locate it. The last feature that I want to talk about is magnifier reading. So this is actually fairly new. So this isn't a full-blown screen reader like Narrator, but it does add some ability to read aloud text that's either under my mouse pointer, or I can navigate a page and have it read aloud. So I can use a modifier key. So in this case, it's Control-Alt, and I can have it start and stop reading with that modifier key, Control-Alt, and Enter. But I also have the magnifier toolbar here. So if you've used the magnifier toolbar in the past, traditionally it's had a zoom in, zoom out, and a settings icon. So with magnifier reading, there's a few more options in here. So let's say I'm navigating through the page and I want to read some text that's on the screen. I can hit play, or I can hit Control-Alt-Enter.
Turn on magnifier.
So that's going to read the item that has focus in this page. So turn on magnifier. I can also use read from here, where I would press that, and then I can click some text,
Magnifier.
and then magnifier will start reading from that point. So let's say I click this block of text when I turn that feature on.
Use magnifier to zoom in on parts of your display. Magnifier can run in full screen, in a separate window, or as a lens that follows your mouse pointer around the screen.
And again, I can use some of the play and pause commands. I can use next and previous to navigate through the page. Like Immersive Reader, I can also change the speed of that sound of the speech. So I can turn that up. There's a few voices built directly into Windows. Microsoft David is pretty common. I use Microsoft Mark quite a bit.
Turn on magnifier.
So I turned it up quite a bit, and then I turn on Microsoft Mark, so it reads pretty quickly. Let's just read through that block of text again.
Use magnifier to zoom in on parts of your display. Magnifier can run in full screen, in a separate window, or as a lens that follows your mouse pointer around the screen.
And as I read, I have that kind of blue box that I can follow to easily see where what magnifier is and kind of where focus is. So I'll go ahead and shut off magnifier for now. But those are some of the features, including a couple new ones in magnifier. The next thing I want to talk about briefly is some of the other color options in Windows. One of which is color filters. So this lets me customize the colors of my display. And there's 6 kind of predefined options. 3 of them are really focused on different types of color blindness. So if I'm, for example, blue-yellow colorblind, when I turn this on, it just shifts the hues of some of these colors a little bit. If I'm tend to use color inversion, traditionally that's been a part of magnifier, but I can use the color inversion whether or not I'm using magnifier now. So in color filters, let's select inverted. So this makes the dark background light and the dark and the light text dark text. I can also do grayscale and then grayscale inverted. So I'll go ahead and shut that off for now. One of the features that's been in Windows for a while that folks may be familiar with is Windows High Contrast. So let's go ahead and turn that on. So that basically simplifies the color scheme of Windows to some predefined ones. So I have the default high contrast #1 theme. Text becomes yellow, hyperlinks kind of a bluish purple, disabled text green, and the background black. There's a couple other options as well. In Windows 10, there's 4 themes: high contrast 1, 2, and then high contrast black, and then high contrast white. So high contrast white is pretty different from the others, where the text is black, the background is white, but still the color scheme for some of the components is a little simplified still. I'll go ahead and turn that off for now. There's a couple other just personalization options in Windows that might add some great customization here. So if I leave ease of access, I hit the back button in the settings app, and now I can go to personalization. And then I can jump down to colors, where I can change whether my apps are light in light mode, which is kind of a light background with dark text, dark mode, and I can add some custom accent colors. And what's great about this is any apps that support a dark mode, I'm able to set kind of a system default. So a lot of apps in Windows, they let you customize the theme, but if you set them to the system default, they'll respect whatever you choose here on the choose your color dropdown in the color screen. So if I've chosen the dark theme, that'll be respected in other apps that are able to support that. So those are some of the features that I wanted to demo. And again, just to recap a little bit, so we talked a little bit about Immersive Reader and Edge and some of the other products and it's available in and some of its features. We talked about Magnifier, which is an ease of access. We talked about some of the other options like text size, mouse pointer, text cursor, color filters, and high contrast. So I hope this was helpful as kind of a representative view of some of the features that are available today in Windows. I wanted to take a minute and run through some of the resources that we do have available. So I have some of our web pages open here, and I'll just kind of talk through them here. So for many of you who are using a lot of our consumer products like Windows, Office, and more, we do have what's called the Disability Answer Desk, which is a great way to get free support on a lot of our products and services. So I have that page open right now. The easiest way to get to it is you can do a web search for Disability Answer Desk, or enter the URL aka.ms/DAD, DAD for Disability Answer Desk. And this lists a lot of our resources that are available, some of the quick solutions, some video resources that we have, and then a little further down the page we have a Contact Us section. And so if you have an accessibility question on Windows or Office, you can use chat or phone. We also added support for the Be My Eyes app, which is an app really intended for blind or low vision users to be able to leverage one-way video where a sighted volunteer, or in our case, one of our Disability Answer Desk support members, is able to view video from your mobile device, which is often helpful for troubleshooting things like connectivity issues. Where using your video, you can point to what's going on your screen, and our team could kind of help diagnose what's going on there. And again, there's chat, phone, and we do have American Sign Language support as well. And so again, that's really for if you're a consumer user using a lot of our consumer offerings, that's a great place to get support. You can also share ideas and feedback via Twitter at MSFT Enable, and on the Disability Answer Desk page, there's a couple links to that if that's something you'd like to do as well. If you are using Microsoft technology in an enterprise or corporate or business or government environment, we also have what's called the Enterprise Disability Answer Desk, which is the team that Kelly and I are both a part of. And we provide email support for a lot of our customers in those environments, using often a lot of the same products but as consumers, but as also some of the other enterprise tools like Microsoft Teams and Dynamics and a lot of other tools. So that's a great place to get support if you have questions as well. And you can also do a web search for that or find it from microsoft.com/accessibility, or the direct link to this page is aka.ms/EDAD. Kelly had also mentioned some of the keyboard shortcuts that we have for a lot of our products. A lot of those are found in the Office Accessibility Center, which I always kind of describe as the starting point for everything accessibility related in our Office products. So there's articles on using a lot of our applications using a screen reader. So let's say I go ahead and select Microsoft Teams. There's tabs for each platform, so Windows, Mac OS, iOS, Android, and web. There's an overview of some of the features, keyboard shortcuts, and then articles that walk through kind of how-tos for really specific scenarios, like some of the basic tasks like creating and modifying a team, chatting, making and answering calls, etc. It also has some great guidance on learning tools, which includes the Immersive Reader, making content accessible, and there's also some video trainings as well. I also wanted to point out another resource that Kelly mentioned are some of the webinars that we've produced. I have the webinar page up here. The easiest way to get to it is aka.ms/accessibility webinars, all one word. And so we have quite a few webinars on here that we've recorded previously. So you can kind of view the archives of those. A couple of them focus on using Narrator and Magnifier and some of the other low vision features, the ribbon in Office, OneNote, live captions and subtitles in PowerPoint, and more. And we also have done a couple webinars on Microsoft Teams, including 3 that we did last year, focused on remote work. So one using a screen reader, one using sign language and captioning, and another on kind of some best practices for conducting inclusive meetings. So I hope this is helpful. I think these are just some of the resources that we have out there. If you didn't catch all of those links, the easiest way to get back to these is to go to microsoft.com/accessibility, where you'll find links to a lot of these. tools and services and support offerings like the Disability Answer Desk and the Enterprise Disability Answer Desk. With that, I think that brings us to a close for today. Again, we'd love to hear your feedback. Some of the support offerings are a great way to reach out and connect with us. We'd love your questions, and if there's anything that you're wanting to know how to do in Office or other products, the Office Accessibility Center is a great starting point for that. So with that, I'll toss it back to Kelly, and we can both, I'll let him say a couple things as we close too.
Just want to thank everyone for your time and willingness to listen to us. Again, if you have follow-up questions down the road, our services that Sean mentioned, both the Consumer and Enterprise Disability Answer Desk, are here to answer them. And I hope everyone's enjoyed the presentation and has a great day.
Visit our website at altechsymposium.net. Our next session will begin shortly. CEU close code 86892. CEU close code 86892. CEU close code 86892.